Today, somebody asked me the question. Somebody said, I'm very scared of death. I'm very scared to die. I said, why? They said, because I'm scared to go to hell. I said, what makes you think you'll go to hell? They said that because I've done many things which I should not have done. So I'm scared I have to go to hell. Friends, we have, unfortunately, we have been taught many fairy tales. And we have been taught these fairy tales. And because of these fairy tales, we human beings live and die in ignorance. We are completely off the track of the reality of life. How can anybody go to hell? How can you go to hell? Because when you die, the body, we ourselves cremate the body, we burn the body. Then who goes to hell? How do you go to hell? And we all believe in this concept of hell. The fact is, heaven or hell, they are both experienced on earth when we take rebirth. This is the truth. And there's no harm in being scared of hell because of bad karma. But there is no hell. You know, how many of you will be able to go and convince people that there's no hell? It's practically impossible. If you go and tell your friends, oh, there's no hell. What do you mean there's no hell? Of course there is hell. People believe that Swarga, Narka, Jannat, Jahannam, heaven, hell are real. But in reality, there is no heaven and hell, my dear friends. This is part of the ignorance that we have to overcome if we want to reach that goal of enlightenment. And before I give you over questions, once more, I'm reflecting. Why do we need enlightenment? We need enlightenment because we want eternal happiness, everlasting peace. And in this world, there is no way to reach eternal happiness unless you have enlightenment. The moment you are enlightened, you are free from all misery. We spoke about this, right? Yesterday or day before yesterday? Yesterday. Is there a way to be out of all misery? No problem, no sorrow? Of course. Of course there is a way. People don't believe there is a way. People don't believe because they have been taught the wrong fairy tales. They have been taught that one day when you die, Yama will come, and Yama will come sitting on an ugly buffalo, and then he will come and he will catch you. And how they show in movies, death, the god of death. Have you seen? Veena has seen. Veena's laughing. They will show with a man with a hand like a dragon, and even show people even know how the god of death looks. Also, people know. पता नहीं कहाँ से मालूम पड़ता है. How they are able to draw and paint the god of hell, and how they unfortunately there are some stories on heaven and hell, but let me not waste ask air time. If in case there's some leisure time, then you remind me before we close. I will tell you a story of heaven and hell. But for now, we have any questions? We have no questions. So I'll tell you till the questions start. I have free time. So I'm telling you a story of when I was a young boy, and somebody asked what is the difference between heaven and hell. So one man, he explained very beautifully. He said, in heaven, when you go to heaven, there's a huge banquet hall. And so he said, when you go to hell, what is in hell? He said, hell also there's a huge banquet hall. Then he said, okay, then in heaven what? He said, in heaven, lot of beautiful sofas and granite tables. In hell, he said, hell also lot of beautiful sofas and granite tables. Then in heaven, what is there? He said, in heaven you get all the food. Channa bhatura, puri bhaji, idli, dosa, vada, sambar, every food, pizza, burger, every food you want is available in heaven. Now what is the food available in hell? He said, everything is available in hell. Idli, dosa, chana bhatura, vada pav, Mexican, Taco Bell, everything, McDonald's, Pizza Hut. Then what's the difference between heaven and hell? He said in heaven, the problem is everybody there is hand is tied like this. So the hand, you cannot eat. The hand is tied. And the hand is become into a big spoon. So the two hands have become two spoons in heaven. And people are enjoying the food, enjoying the food. But in hell, the hand is tied and two spoons. But people are crying. People are crying. And people are hitting each other with the spoons. People are smashing each other with the spoons. Why? Because in heaven, people are taking the spoon. One man is taking the spoon and feeding another man. One man is taking pizza and making another man eat. In hell, people are taking pizza and trying to eat. So the pizza is falling on the face. Padak. Chana butter is falling on the face. Padak. Watermelon, big watermelon on the face. Padak. But in heaven, it's not like that. People are cutting and making other people eat. So you see the difference between heaven and hell is just a matter of attitude. That is just a way of explaining. But there is no hell. That doesn't change my original statement. There is no hell. First question is Sudeep Bhargava.
Shivam, sir.
Shivam, Sudeep.
Sir, a couple of days back, we were discussing the difference between the deep sleep and the samadhi. Kiran ma'am, auntie had a question for that. So I'll just take a step back from samadhi and let me talk about meditation. So what I could make out, I just wanted to check with you whether I'm in the right path or not. In the deep sleep, there will be bliss, but we will not be able to experience the bliss at the time when we are in the deep sleep. We may get to know about that bliss when we come out of the deep sleep.
Correct.
But in meditation also we get the bliss and we will experience the bliss while we are doing that meditation. So at the time when I'm getting bliss, I know that is samay bliss mil raha hai.
Yeah.
I think that is one difference. So is that right? And if you can add something to it, if I'm on the right path.
Yeah, except bliss mil raha hai, nahi milta hai bliss. You don't get happiness, you don't get bliss. You experience it. You are in that state.
Okay.
So you don't. It's not like idli vada which you can get. No.
Right.
You're right. So Sudhir, just to put your what you say is 100% correct, but to put it in context with everybody's understanding. So when you are in deep sleep, you are knocked out. Remember the word? You are knocked out. When you are knocked out, you don't know anything. You are knocked out. And when you regain the consciousness after you're knocked out, then you realize the absence of the rascal mind, the absence of dreams, and in that dreamless sleep, when you are quietly in that dreamless sleep, at that point you say, what a sleep I had. That is the state of happiness. You're right. After waking up, you realize. But in the state of, you use the word state of meditation, it's not meditation. I'm correcting that also, Sudhir.
Okay.
In the state of samadhi, because in the state of meditation, you don't get what you're asking for, that bliss. All meditation will only give silence. Meditation, the dharana, dhyana, samadhi. When you go beyond the state of meditation and you reach that state of chaturya, you reach that state of sat chit anand. When you reach that state, then you reach the state of complete bliss. Oh my God, Sudeep, nothing will matter. For example, you reach a state, somebody told me recently that I used to go to the dentist. And when I go to the dentist, I used to have a lot of pain. The dentist, I used to tell them, give double dose of anesthesia. Now, when I go to the dentist, I am not worried about how much anesthesia, because I am conscious that I am not the body. The body is feeling some pain. The dentist has given some anesthesia and I can feel slight pain. But earlier, even when there was no pain, I was feeling pain. Now I realize the body is experiencing pain, but I am not this body. The body has got little pain, but I am not suffering. So you reach that state. That state is consciousness. That state is liberation from pain of the body, misery of the mind, agony of the ego. That state is a state of complete seamless happiness. Seamless. Why is that state of seamless happiness? Let me give this to you before I close your question. Because what do you see, Sudeep? You see God everywhere. You don't see people. You see God. Even if there's a rascal in front of you, a person who's troubling you, is a real lousy guy, you don't see the lousy guy. Because you know everybody is essentially, everybody is nothing but God. You become conscious of that. So in that state of consciousness, you're right, you experience that bliss moment by moment, not like deep sleep. When you come out of the deep sleep, you get it, right? So that's why there's a lot of difference. I hope you're asking many questions regarding this. I hope it's helping people because it's very important. See, at the end of the day, we all experience misery. We all have stress, worry, anxiety, which is meaningless. Which is meaningless because nothing matters. What matters is the one reality. Everything else is an illusion. If only you realize that nothing is real, if only you realize that you are a manifestation of God, if you realize that you are God, what more you want? If you realize that you are not what you appear, you are God, you don't need anything else. Your life is completely blissful. But unfortunately, most religions, even most masters don't want us to realize this. Because the moment we realize this, then we don't need anybody. Then we are independent. We don't need any help. So people don't want people to realize it. So hope you got the answer, Sudeep. Is there anything more that I should add?
Yes, sir. No. That's that. It's okay, sir.
Okay.
There's no other questions, sir. I would like to ask one more question in case there's
Please,
nobody
go ahead.
else.
No, questions will come, but you ask because you must always grab the chance to ask the question. Yes, please ask.
Sir, in the Tattva Bodha, I will mention that verse, that is the verse number 12 that I'm referring to right now. So for the Karan Sharir, it talks about the Karan Sharir, the causal body that we discussed 2-3 days back. So there is a word that they write as an adjective is Sat Swarup Jnanam, which the English translation that I'm reading is, it says that it is free from duality. Now, causal body is the ignorance, which you had told me that Degriji also said the same thing, which, I mean, there's no doubt over it. But then why are we calling it as free from duality? Because then it becomes Atma itself. And so I'm getting a bit confused there.
Of course, you will get confused. If you keep on reading all these Sanskrit bhashas and all these shlokas, which man will not get confused? See, there are only two type of people, Sudeep. There is one person who will give you all this Satya Swarupayana and they will tell you Om Triambakam Bhur Bhuvaswa. They will tell you 100 mantras. And that person doesn't have enlightenment. But that person will rattle all the mantras to you. But that person doesn't know ABC of enlightenment. They will tell you some translation, they'll tell you some cock and bull stories. But in the real enlightenment, you don't need all these things. You don't need to get into this tech. You need some basics. For example, you need neti. Easy, na? I am not the body, I am not the mind. Tat tvam asi. Thou art that. Now, actual literal translation of Sat Swarupa Jnana may be something else. Sat is the truth. The Swarupa. Then when you are in the Swarupa of the truth, then that Jnana. That means there's no, what does it say? What is that? Equal? What that means is, when you're in that state, I'm just trying to interpret that, then you become one with God. You become Sat Swarupa Jnana, as you become, there is God realization.
That was my doubt, that why are they connecting it with the causal body? That is, I just thought that maybe I'm maybe understanding something wrong, or am I missing out something? That's why.
When you read the scripture, sometimes people, I know people who have done PhD, and then they are trying to read, and they're trying to read Shakespeare, and they can't understand Shakespeare. They've done PhD, but how to understand Shakespeare? Because Shakespeare in English is only here, only Shakespeare understands. Other people have to try to understand what he was trying to say, because he uses his own English. No? So that it becomes Shakespearean language itself. So all the point is this: our goal is enlightenment. Why are we trying? Why am I coming every day here to speak on this subject? Because enlightenment is the state of everlasting happiness. It's a state of eternal bliss and peace. The point is this: people don't even know the meaning. People don't even know there can be a situation where you can have eternal happiness. People think it is nothing like, people think this world is a cycle. Somebody asked yesterday, is a cycle of pleasure and pain. Do we have to again and again?
Correct.
We have to have loss and gain, pleasure and pain. But this is what we have been taught. This is what the masters if you go to Astha channel, they will tell you. They will tell you, Astha channel mein, they will tell you, Putra, तुम्हारे को शनि पूजा करनी है और शनि पूजा करने के लिए ऐसा करना है और then you can listen to Astha channel and have so many gurus telling you so many different things. At the end of the day, everything will remain same except you'll have no brain left because your brains would have already been completely eaten up. So you have to simplify. Our goal is to make it simple. Do not come. You ask questions. Try to understand. Try to understand the principal question. You take some statement made by some guru somewhere and you try to interpret that statement, you will go mad. You will not be able to interpret. And the idea of that guru is to make you go mad. Because if you understand what the guru is saying, you will not go back to him. No. Why many of the masters tell you complicated things? Many masters will tell you complicated things because you can't understand. You have to keep on going back to them. If you understand, you will stop going to them. Then you don't need them anymore.
There's a saying in English which goes for the teachers. They say, if you cannot convince them, confuse them. So I think that's exactly what you're saying.
Okay, next question, please. Karan Singh.
So type what is consciousness?
What, Karan Singh?
What is consciousness?
What is consciousness?
What is consciousness? Very good. Consciousness can be interpreted in different ways. Science has not been able to define consciousness, first of all. So if you try to ask scientifically what is consciousness, you will get, you know what answer you will get? You will get the answer: conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious. This is what science knows about consciousness. But spirituality has an understanding of consciousness. What is consciousness in spirituality? It is enlightenment. It is the ability to be in that state of awareness. So consciousness is becoming conscious. What are you conscious about? You become conscious of the truth. What is the truth? So many things. The truth is that you're going to die one day. The truth is that you are not going to die one day. First you become conscious that you are going to die. Then you become conscious that only body will die. I will not die. Then you become conscious that this body is not me. Then you become conscious that the mind is not me. Then you become conscious that I am the Atma. Then you become conscious that God is not far away in the stars. Then you become conscious that everywhere there is God. But when there's no consciousness, you're still ringing, you're on the temple bell and you're ringing, da, da, ding, dong, ding, da, ding, da. You're going on pressing the bell because you're waking up God. And you're doing it in what is called Brahma Muhurat, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, when everybody is sleeping, you're ringing the bell in your house because you have no chance to go to temple because all the pujaris are sleeping in the temple. When there is consciousness, all these fairy tales end. Yes. Consciousness, Karan, means you become the Atma in Karan. You realize Karan is just a name. Up to now, people, if somebody phones them, hello, kaun baat kar raha hai? Mai Gautam hu. Gautam, pata hai Gautam kaun hai? Gautam. I am the painting king of India. Gautam. Like that. So who's this? This is lack of consciousness. The moment somebody becomes conscious, there's consciousness, you don't say I am Gautam. You say my name is Gautam. You don't say I am a king. Today you may be king, tomorrow you may be beggar. How do you know when you're going to be king? So
you mean
continue.
You mean aware of the truth.
Correct. Awareness of the reality, awareness of the truth, awareness of who you are. Consciousness is that state of spiritual enlightenment. So this is where when the Buddha, what's the meaning of Buddha? Buddh is the enlightened one. Who is an enlightened one? The enlightened one is one who is in the state of consciousness. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next question. Gautam. I didn't know you're asking question. Yes, Gautam. I can't hear you. Unmute yourself. Gautam, please unmute.
Sorry, Shivam.
Yeah. Show him.
Actually, I have two doubts. First one is, can we, in silence, can we concentrate on God?
In silence, can we concentrate on God? It depends upon what silence you're talking about. Suppose you are in silence. Suppose you are in silence, not talking to anybody, but your mind is going on thinking. What is going on thinking? I want to kill that man. I want to kill that man. I want to kill that man. That is my enemy. I have to finish him. How to finish him? Silence. In silence, you are thinking. There is complete silence. But your mind is only thinking how to destroy that man, how to kill him, where I will get a gun, how to shoot him. Then how can you think of God? You are silent. I'm giving an example to you where you are silent, but you cannot think of God. But if you are not silent, but you are, suppose you are watching the stars and the skies and the rain is there and it's pouring rain. It's like last few days, Sanjay Das told in Pune and in Bangalore also, there's so much rain, pouring rain. But there's noise. But you are still experiencing God because you feel the presence of the divine all the time. So,
But if
yeah.
But if I, when I be in silence, I think of God, that is good, or my mind doesn't go to any to this thing or something else. You just go to the God.
If you are silent and you think of God all the time, very good. But if you're silent, and you're thinking of God in Kailasha, then you're thinking, oh Lord Shiva, how you are sitting in so much cold, Lord Shiva. Then you're thinking, should I come and bring heater for you, Lord Shiva? Because it's so cold there. Should I bring a tiger skin for you? Oh Lord Shiva, I feel. If you, this is how the mind thinks. I'm telling how the mind thinks. I'm telling you. Because I'm not making fun. I'm telling the mind will think all nonsense. So this is where the previous question Karan asked, Gautam. You don't need only silence. You need consciousness. You need consciousness means you must realize where is Shiva? Where is your God? Shivoham, Shivoham. Every time we say Shivoham, God is inside you. When you are in that silence and you're going inside, oh, then you reach that state of Sat Chit Anand, reach that state of bliss. So you need to have not only silence, you need to have consciousness. Sat Chit Anand, that is the goal. Okay?
Thank
One
you.
more question, you had one more doubt?
One more doubt I have that. 2 days back, I asked one question to my one of my friends. So I told him that if you go on do good karma, you again born and reborn. So he told that I want to see this universe and I want to see this world. I don't want to get enlightenment. So is that true that if you go on do good karma, we'll born in poor family or rich family? We do on good karma, we'll born in rich family.
Gautam, this is the best question you have asked up to today. So, so let me explain to you, Gautam. See, Gautam, what did the Buddha say? The Buddha said, this samsara is full of dukkha. You agree or you don't agree? Anybody who is born in this world, they will grow old, they will die, they will suffer, they will lose loved ones. Some lady will be born with a child, the child will die, she will cry. Some lady will be born with a child, that boy will marry some girl and leave her and go, again she will cry. Some lady will be born with a boy who does robbing and goes to jail, again she will cry. Anybody born in this world will cry before they die. Therefore, it is not my telling you, Gautam. This is the telling of every religion, of every scripture of the world, that the goal of life is liberation. In the Christian world, they call it salvation, but it is becoming one with God. In the Buddhist and the Jains, they call nirvana. In Hinduism, they call mukti and moksha. The word may be different, but the point is that ultimately, please be clear, the goal of our life is liberation and unification. Some people, even my Guruji used to tell some of the devotees, you please do good karma, because when you do good karma, you will come back to this world, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because those people are doing bad karma. So what is better, good karma or bad karma? Of course, it is better to do good karma. But is good karma the ultimate goal of life? So no, the good karma is not the goal of life. Good karma is better than bad karma, Gautam. But please tell your friend that coming back to this world, that's why when a child is born, why the child cries? Have you ever seen a child laughing? Ask your friend. Have you ever seen a child laughing? Coming out of the mother's stomach, womb. Have you seen? Why every child is crying? For what? Because this world is dukkha. This samsara is dukkha. And because we all have a dirty mind, this mind, a lot of people, another good thing, lot of people say, oh, mind can be a good friend if it is if we make a positive mind, peaceful mind, calm mind, good mind. Cannot be. Cannot have calm mind, positive mind, good mind, does not exist. The mind is a mind. And the mind is the biggest problem. Many people, many philosophies will not accept this. So those who are born, if you're born without a mind, then there's no point being born, because then you'll be mad. And if you're born with a mind, your mind will say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. Mind will desire. Yesterday we spoke about it. The mind with the senses will desire this and desire that. So my dear Gautam, please tell your friend, if we come back to this world, we are going to suffer and suffer and suffer. The goal is not, the goal is liberation. Mukti, moksha, men.
Yeah.
Huh?
I told him 3 to 4 times, then I stopped him telling nothing.
You
He
bring
told,
him for
I
ask care. I told you all, many of you, you may be having some friends who don't understand many basics. The best service, best karma yogi for you, if you want to do good seva, good karma yogi, is to bring somebody to the call who doesn't know the meaning of life. If you know any friend who is suffering, you must bring them to the call. Because when they are escaped their suffering, when they are able to overcome their ignorance, that is called karma yoga for you. Sometime Ashok Chotwani asked, how do I do karma yoga? I think once he asked me. Karma yoga is doing God's work. Today, if I am trying to help you, what am I doing? I am trying to help you. This is God's work. So I try to help as many people from morning to night. My work is only this. Either I write bhajan or I write book or I give talk. I don't do anything else. So you also, if you really want to do good work, then you do good work as an instrument, Gautam. You don't do good work with the ego. Don't do good work because you want to come back to this world. You do good work because you want to become one with God. You do good work because you believe that you are an instrument of God.
Last question. Kumar Swami.
Kumar Swami.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gautam. Very good question. Thank you. Kumar Swami.
Shivam Guruji.
Shivam Kumar Swami.
Actually, the importance of the Guru in our enlightenment path, the importance. So on that, there is one small bhajan is there, around 2.5 minutes bhajan is there. If you give a permission, that bhajan I will play on it. It's a
Please-
very important
please play.
bhajan.
Please play. We have time. We have 2 minutes. Please play it. Okay, thank you, Kumar Swami. Thank you very much. So I think it's a very good bhajan, but I wish we could send this link to people. My only concern is that sometimes we have to realize this, that the Guru is none other than God manifesting as a Guru. But not only Guru, everybody on this call is God. This is the reality, that the bhajan is very good. The bhajan is very good because it makes us work, go forward on the path of bhakti, and makes us on the path of of the Guru's path. But my dear friends, unfortunately, I don't think you all could hear it very clearly. Sanjay, was it very clear? Out of how much percent you could hear? 50%. So 50% you could hear. I also was struggling to get the words, Kumar Swami. But what I'm saying is, next time when anybody wants to play a clipping, send it to us. We will make it loud and we will play it for everybody. And remember this, the Guru, like we said yesterday, Guru ne apna bana ke mujhko. That's what I heard. Muskurana sikha diya. While it's a good song, it's a very famous song, right? Very famous Hindi song. But the point is, the Guru has to unite us with God. The Guru has to make us realize we are God. The Guru has to make us realize that this whole world, what I liked in the bhajan, I heard one thing, that this world is only a swapna. I heard one word I could hear. Kumar Swami, am I right? It said the world is only swapna, correct? So some words I could hear very good in the bhajan. But my dear friends, all these things you know. The challenge is, how do you crystallize this knowledge into realization? How can you get to that state of liberation? And before I go today, I'm giving you one small tip. And that's one small advice is this. If you really want God, then yearn for God. More than a miser yearns for gold. More than a lover yearns for their beloved. More than a mother yearns for a child yearns for its mother whom it has lost. If you want God, if you want God realization, if you want enlightenment, if you want at the state of eternal bliss and peace, I am only leaving you with one thought. More important than anything, love God. Love God so much, whichever is your God. Love God so much, love God so much, love God so much that you will be free from all misery and all suffering. With that note, I thank you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. God bless.